Welcome to Around the House Northwest, presented by PGE and Oregon Kind of Energy.
Welcome in to another edition of Around the House Northwest here on Fox 12 Plus. I'm Eric G. We've got a great show lined up for you today. We're going to be giving you ideas for the best and newest technology for your home with Josh Christian of the Home Technology Association and showing you the latest in garage doors. But first, we're going to explore the steps the pros follow to keep your HVAC system running at its best with Pyramid Heating and Cooling.
Now it's time for Perform Like a Pro.
Hey, Randy. It's that time of year, man, where maintenance on this is kind of like your car. You got to change the oil on it, right? Yep. This needs service. And I put this in a couple years ago, and if there's not one thing I learned about my HVAC system is, man, I got to take care of it, because if not, it's going to leave me hanging. What do we do to take care of these things?
Need to do a yearly routine maintenance on it. We can catch problems before they become a problem.
Yeah. And like this here, for instance, it's brand new, so it's very simple for me to go, oh, I spent all this money. It's good for a number of years. But there's a lot of things we got to do inside of it.
Yes.
What do you recommend as part of that service?
We're going to check the filter, make sure the filter's clean. We're going to check all your motors, make sure the amp draws are good. If there's capacitors in here, we'll check those. We're going to check gas pressure, make sure the gas pressure is good, and do a little cleaning, clean flame sensor.
Nice.
Clean things that'll cause an issue if you don't clean them.
Yeah, and just like anything, when you tune it up, you're getting it at its best efficiency, so that can save you some money in the long run.
Yes.
Absolutely. What's our first step on this thing, man?
So first of all, we're going to kill the power to the unit at the breaker.
All right, let me go over and do that.
Power is off, so now we're just going to open the door to the unit.
That's where my filter is hiding, right?
Yes. This is going to be your filter right here. And yep, and it's time for it to be changed.
Yeah. How does this system work? Like, everybody has different filters, right? They've got the little 1-inch ones. This is one of the bigger ones that can last a lot longer. But this whole system's a little bit different, right, in how it works?
Yes, it's an air purifier, electrostatic air purifier.
Okay.
So it electrically charges the dust particles and makes them stick to that filter.
Oh, so that's why that grabs all that stuff without
Yeah.
it trying to jam through the
Yeah.
filter. It's
So
keeping it there.
The little microns that we usually get through the 1-inch filters, the smaller ones, it's blowing those up, electrically statically charging them, and makes them stick to that filter, and so they don't get back into the house.
Nice. Yeah, it's one of those things that I've talked to a lot of people about those things. You know, when you get those like 99-cent or probably $2 now, the fiberglass kind of filters, those are
Yes.
really there just to what? Keep a cat from going into the motor,
Yeah,
right?
they're worthless.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you really got to get something good. But if I remember right, you can actually put too good of a filter in and really change that system and make it so it doesn't work as well.
Yes. Yep, you're restricting the airflow if you go too big of a filter.
Gotcha. So you got to find that balance.
Yep.
Best way just to talk to your local HVAC professional to see what that's.
Yep. All according to the size of the unit and everything.
Okay. So basically comes down to airflow then, doesn't
Yep.
it?
Yes, it does.
All right. So what do we got next on this thing, man?
So next if you want to change this filter, we can put a new one in.
Okay. We can deal with that.
Open up the unit. We're going to take a look at all the wires and make sure they're all connected everywhere on the board. Make sure we don't have anything loose that's going to cause any issues. This Molex plug here a lot of times can vibrate loose. Then we're looking at like the little bit of this one's just going to need a little light cleaning. We'll just brush it off with a brush. Then the next step is I'll clean this flame sensor here.
And this stuff, guys, is really something that's best done for having somebody do it. I would not recommend this to be done by a DIYer. This is where you bring in the pro, because you can mess this stuff up. This is why I have people come out and do it, because that way I don't get caught without a heater or air conditioning. We got fire.
Now we have fire. So right now this is going to start out in medium fire for 30 seconds, which adjustment's good on that. 1.3 inches of water column. After 30 seconds, it's going to drop to low fire.
Okay.
And then I'll jumper it and check high fire.
Gotcha. And you're just gonna trick it to think it needs a bunch of heat, right?
Yes.
So when we're talking about maintenance with these things, of course we're talking about that spring maintenance right now. What do you expect people to do each year? Should this be done once, twice a year? And of course, how do you maintain these things for the long term, so that way you've got a machine that you're gonna actually make last the longest it can and keep the house healthy inside with decent quality air?
It's recommended to do it twice a year. You'll want to do your heating right before heating season, do your air conditioning right before air conditioning season. That's usually what's recommended to maintain both of them. The reason why it's usually twice a year, air conditioning, you can't really check refrigerant levels unless it's above 65 degrees outside. You can't really get a good accurate reading.
What do you recommend on filter changing? Because of course there's different environments, different filters. The small ones, for instance, that 1 inch that's in probably a good majority of people's houses in the area, how often should they change those?
The little 1 inch filters should be no longer than 90 days, about every 90 days, change those. If you have your 4 inch filters, those can be changed between 6 and 9 months. That's what's recommended. Depends on how dirty the air is. Just keep an eye on it and check it. And then like what you have with the air purifier, these can go a year.
Okay. Excellent, yeah. And in my case, it doesn't, only because I've got so much air quality issues with dogs and that kind of stuff. So.
Yep, that's something you'll just want to keep an eye on and check it about every 6 months and see if it's needs it at 6 months and do it twice a year.
All right. Randy, thanks for coming out today, and I got to learn a little bit what the service is on these type of units. Really appreciate you guys, again, being at my house working on this.
You're welcome.
Each week, we highlight a great local company right here in the Northwest. Today, the spotlight is out in Dallas, Oregon, at the king of outdoor cooking, Mac Grills. Their high-quality pellet grills are made to last a lifetime.
Now it's time for Made in the Northwest.
All right, we're hanging out here with Mac Grills, Bob Tucker. Thanks for having us out here, man. This is incredible what you guys are making here right in the Northwest.
You're very welcome. Happy to have you. So this is a laser turret combo machine.
Okay.
And what it does is it can punch features like the louvers that are in the back of the grill to vent the smoke.
Yeah.
And all of the dimples in the flame zone pan where we get the direct heat on the steaks.
Okay.
That all comes from this machine. So it can nest parts and put them in different configurations, and
that way you get the most out of each sheet of material and optimize that, right?
Yes, so each sheet has a different type of parts that are cut within it.
Wow.
And the entire barbecue can be cut, like all the parts that are from this type of material and this thickness for one run of barbecues is on this skid right here.
Wow.
So
that's incredible.
And this is all a lot of the parts that are, once they're broken out of the sheets, they get staged over here. So this is actually a body for a 1-star grill.
Okay.
So that's all punched out, ready to go. Goes through a deburr machine, and we deburr all of the edges and
rough
sharpness
edges and stuff. Yeah.
Send it through.
That's great. And so that just comes from there over into here, and
Through
that
the
just
rotary
totally
brush.
cleans it up right there. So
Yes. And then there's an example of parts that have a formed feature.
Yep.
So this is a drip tray for the 2-star, and it has a dimple on there.
Okay.
And the purpose of that is to keep it up off the bottom of the grill so it doesn't sweat and get grease trapped under it. And that's done with that laser machine.
Oh wow, so that still does that.
Yeah, so it can not only cut the perimeter, but it can punch form features.
Wow, that's incredible. All in one machine.
All in one machine. So these are all press brakes to do a lot of the forming of the parts. So all of the bends basically are happening in this machine. So we have a flat part in from the laser, and then they come over and they put all the bends in. These machines hold 10,000ths of an inch tolerance, so they're very, very accurate. And that's why on the barbecue, when you put it together, all the holes line up. Everything's perfect. Because in a sense, it is perfect.
It is perfect.
We're like the automotive industry as far as tolerance, where if you have a part that you need to replace on a 5-year-old car, everything fits exactly the same way. That's what we do. From corner seams like this that are getting welded out, all done by hand, all TIG welded.
Okay.
Because sheet metal is so thin,
Yeah.
You have to keep the heat way down or it'll just warp and look like
yeah.
a taco. So
And that's one of those things, it's just that craftsperson can sit there and do that, where
Yes.
that's not really an easily machine done thing, especially with something that's that thin.
yes,
It's so delicate as far as welding comes.
you're right. And you'd be surprised what happens a lot of times is, like on this part, they'll weld a few inches and then they have an air nozzle to cool it down, and then they'll go some more. It really is a skill to be able to weld those out. And then that all gets ground off and powder coated and it will look like it was one piece.
Nice.
This is actually a prototype model of a 2-star built-in that we're going to release this summer. And so this was the first unit that we've made. And we go through and we make a prototype, make sure everything fits together the way we want, find out any issues that we have, make the adjustments, build another one. Then we do all the testing, burning, cooking, all of that, and then on we go with production. So it takes quite a process to make a new model.
But that's the beauty of you guys being local here.
Yes.
Is that you can do this. You can sit here and go, okay, well, what if we do this? What if we do that? Now somebody walks over to a station to do it versus you having to get into an email string to some other manufacturing company out there that's doing it.
That's right.
That's the beauty of this that I really enjoy.
So you're right. What we do is we build the part, find out any interferences, any problems, any issues, and then redesign it, make all of our notes, go back into the CAD program, adjust this, change holes, maneuver things around, build another prototype.
Yeah.
And we do that multiple times. We'll probably build 4 or 5 of these prototypes
Nice.
before we actually get to like, okay, it's ready for a customer, let's go.
Gotcha. You
So-
take it, refine it, play with it hard,
Yes.
see what the issues
Yes.
are. And
This is in the works about 1.5 years.
wow,
So
okay, so the
we-
development process is big.
It does. It takes quite a while to get it just right.
Well, that's
So-
one of the nice things I like about you guys, though, too, is that you guys don't have 4,000 grills on there, right? You guys
Right.
do what you do best. You
Yes.
have the models you need,
Yes.
but it's not like there's a lot to pick from because there doesn't need to be a lot to pick from.
And honestly, what we've done with the models that we have are customer driven. So our customers are asking us for this model. And that's
Yeah.
when we say, okay, if enough people want us to make a built-in version, then we'll do that.
Sure.
So that's really where the new models come from, is from the customers.
That's great. That's
Yeah,
great.
they're like, hey, I want racks that I can slide in and out and have different configurations and sizes. So we're like, okay. So we added these brackets, and now you can just slide the racks in and out. So this is actually a full rack from the bottom size.
Wow.
Right? And so you can completely double your cooking surface with just one full upper rack. And then the lid, because it's rolled, still clears all of those. And then a lot of customers, and this one's called a 3/4, a lot of customers will put the lower half racks, we call them, at the down here. They'll use those for multiple rack positions on the top and use the full rack on the bottom.
Nice.
And then they can have completely different configurations of different racking positions depending on what they're cooking and where they want those. And any of these will fit in any slots all along the grill, and they'll be able to use that for doing lots of chicken thighs or jerky or salmon. So it's completely modular on what you want to do.
You
and
can
how that
literally
fits.
have like 3 courses on here at the same time.
Exactly.
And still rolling with it. That's pretty dang impressive.
And with that full rack in the middle and these racks not installed, I can cook 4 full packer briskets on this 2-star or 8 pork butts.
That is a lot of meat, my friend.
Yes. Yeah.
And then you can take them out and throw a turkey on there.
Yes. You can do beer can chickens standing up. We have one customer that does 6 chickens every week. He loves them.
That's a way to go.
Then I wanted to show you that inside stuff on the customer service things that we talked about.
Yeah.
Where pain points of the grill are maintenance. So this is our flame zone area.
Okay.
A big differentiator between our grill and a normal pellet grill, it gets hot enough to actually sear a steak. Cook burgers, chops, all your dinner time stuff, it heats up way faster and it gets a lot hotter. So you can just put your steaks right on there, 10 minutes. 1-inch ribeye is perfect. On this side, we have a cold smoke / warmer box. So the
Wow.
heat comes through these vents, and when the grill's on smoke, you can smoke cheese, over here at about 80 degrees.
That's
You
incredible.
can do salmon. A lot of guys want to smoke sausages at 100 degrees.
Yeah.
That's very popular. This got so many good reviews and got so popular that we actually made, from customer requests, an expansion box. We call it a super smoker box. And you just flop the lid over, put the super smoker box on this cold smoke box, and you have a door with a whole bunch of shelves and a whole bunch of hooks for hanging sausages, all to take advantage of something that I originally wanted to be a shelf. Isn't that funny? It's just how those things come about. So
It is, but that's brilliant as well, man. That's a cool feature.
yeah, and then this is the hopper side, obviously, where all the pellets go. One big complaint of a lot of pellet grills in the beginning was they wouldn't hold enough pellets to get through the night, and the when you would dump your pellets in there, you'd have like a half a bag left over, and then they would get wet or water moisture would get in. So we made sure that the hoppers hold a whole 20-pound bag of pellets. So you just open up the bag and you can dump the whole thing in there, throw the bag in the trash.
Yep.
So, and then if you want to change out flavors, we have a dump door. You just hold your bucket under there, dump out apple, and add mesquite, and off you go to the next flavor.
I appreciate what you're doing here, because this is just, one, you're building a great product. Two, you're giving great guys, an opportunity here to earn a great living with a great company, all while making something that we can cook on and taste good, right?
Right.
And that's the beauty of that.
Yeah. It's pretty amazing. We're lucky, actually, to be in this position and to have such great customers and great employees. We have videos online that focus on employees, and how amazing our crew is, and that's what makes it all work.
Yeah, those stories that's kind of the backstory of Mac Grills, really, about how you guys really give back. I mean, barbecues, that's all cool and it's making me hungry, but this backstory of giving back is an amazing thing too, that a lot of companies are doing, but we need to get even more doing it.
Yes, agreed.
Coming up next, we're going to talk to Josh Christian from the Home Technology Association.
You're watching Around the House Northwest, presented by PGE and Oregon Kind of Energy. Welcome back to Around the House Northwest, presented by PGE and Oregon Kind of Energy.
The newest trade on the job site is the integrator. I got a chance to sit down with Josh Christian of the Home Technology Association, and we discussed when and how these professionals can be used on your projects in this week's Open House.
Now it's time for Open House, sponsored by Pyramid Heating and Cooling.
Out on the job site, there are so many different trades. You got the electrician, you got the plumber, you got the HVAC technician, but there's one important one that has been getting forgotten on the job site, which is kind of new to some people, the integrator. Today we have Josh Christian from the Home Technology Association. Welcome to Around the House Northwest, my friend.
Thanks, Eric. Glad to be here.
Great to have you on here, man. It's one of the things that, we used to call him the low voltage technician, or there's a lot of different names that we saw in the 90s and 2000s. Well, let's talk really about what an integrator is and how we need to have them on a project, because, they need to go out a lot earlier than just about anybody thinks.
Absolutely. Yes, they definitely need to be on a project early. So the evolution of a home technology integrator goes back probably as early as the 80s, and they were called the AV guy. Was kind of the slang term for this person that would come in and install AV guy, right? Audio and video in the house, such as putting speakers around the house and mounting TVs. And the emerging thing in the late 80s called home theater, who was going to put that in? The AV guy. But this industry has really grown and evolved a lot since those early days in the 80s, where the term technology integrator really is the right term, because they integrate so many technologies, typically low voltage technologies. So going from those audio video roots, it's grown into other things such as smart home, or home automation as it used to be called, where you have controls that make the house very user friendly. And those controls that they put in can control the home subsystems, such as the climate, alarm, music, even pool and spa controls and security, all under one unified app or control system. So that started. Then motorized shading and draperies, lighting control systems, because we all hate those banks of multiple light switches, right? 4, 5, 6.
I think we can all say we hate those 12 switches on the wall when you walk in.
Yeah. So that they're putting the integrators are typically putting in the smart lighting systems where you just have one simple
Yep.
gang of a keypad that now controls our house in so much more of an intuitive way. So, and then also keep growing. This industry keeps growing as technology does. So Wi-Fi, internet, I mean, that is like the fourth utility in your house now, right?
Right.
These integrators are installing and putting that, and they're typically putting in the surveillance and security as well to make sure that all the occupants are safe and secure in their home. So this integrator is a big job. It's a big umbrella with a lot of technologies underneath them. And emerging trends that are coming out too that fall under them are energy management, such as having energy security in your home. And also wellness is a growing topic too. Keep the air quality in the house as clean as it can be and set up some automations that way. And so they integrate all those different technologies, and importantly, they integrate with other players on the build, such as the architect, designer, and other subcontractors like HVAC and cold spot controllers and such, to make sure that all those technologies all play well with each other.
Right? Well, it's interesting, Josh, because nowadays they got to come in almost before the plumber, for instance. I've got a high-tech shower system. It needs Cat5 cable in there, or, it can always run off Wi-Fi. But you want to run one. Always run cable when you can and give yourself that option. But really, you need to have that in early before the electrician and those guys come in, because so many times you have a controller or something that needs to mount there. Do you want to have an outlet next to it, or do you want to have a long cord going across the wall, up and down, and over to plug that in, maybe 4 or 5 feet away?
Absolutely. So this is something that our association, the Home Technology Association, has really been pushing hard for years now. Since our inception, is we want to get the the design and build professionals like the architects, interior designers, and builders understanding exactly what you said, that a technology integrator is a vital early team member that you bring into your project before, while it's dirt, or at the very earliest stage of design, because of what you just said. The technology is kind of the infrastructure of the home now. Like you said, cabling, everybody thinks these days, not everybody, but a lot of people mistakenly believe today that you don't need to run wiring or cabling because everything's on Wi-Fi now. But you said something really true. You definitely want to run things hardwired for reliability, for speed, for security. It's so much better to have things on a wired network than Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi is for convenience, but for performance and reliability, you definitely want to run wires. But that's just talking about those type of components. What about the shading systems? Ideally, you don't want those to run on batteries, or you want to have those hardwired in from the get-go. So there's infrastructure requirements that an integrator could help design in at the earliest stage of the process, figure out not only what wires need to go where, but also figuring out space planning. Where's the technology going to go? Is it going to go to mechanical room, a closet? How big does that closet have to be? What's the heat loads that components of the electronic components are going to put out? What are the electrical requirements? All of these things, like you said, are things that the integrator could bring to the project extremely early. So we're trying to educate the design and build trades, look at them as a vital early consultant, like you would a MEP or a structural engineer or a civil engineer or lighting designer, but part of that early design team that gives you vital information to do your job as a designer and a builder even better, more efficiently.
Yeah, and this is really where it can save the homeowner. So much of our audience is out there watching this going, okay, I'm building a home, it's what I do. But if you're doing a remodel, even a major remodel, this is something that someone needs to come in and talk about this. And it's not only the plan of setting it up and getting through the construction process, woohoo, contractor's gone, everybody's left, but something, technology is changing. And as you know, we talked about this a lot. All of a sudden, that Google brand of whatever doesn't work with the thing that you had in before, and that intercompatibility keeps changing between the brands. And so that integrator is not only there for the construction side, but they're there at year 5, 7 down the road, because maybe something that worked a year ago played really well together, but now it doesn't. And you got to make some changes to make that even work again.
Yeah, that's a really key point you say. The integrator is a different type of trade that you have on a project. And you said that very accurately. Like the electrician and the plumber, they come and they do their work, they leave. You typically don't ever see them again unless you're doing a major remodel. They come in, they're gone. You don't have to talk to them again. The integrator is a long-term relationship. So you want to choose very wisely someone that's service-based, because of exactly things like that you mentioned. Technology is evolving so much, right? And it gets better with time. Think about, 10 years ago is not that long ago, but think of the phone you had 10 years ago. Think of the phone you had 5 years ago. And now your smartphone does so much more. Well, consumers now are fairly used to technology upgrades coming in time, but you're right, there's incompatibilities between certain things, and certain brands go out of business. And what about replacing it with something that is going to talk to the other components? It's a full-time job for the integrator to stay on top of this, because it's a continually evolving landscape. But that's who they're there for. You as a design build professional, and for clients, they become the technology consultant advisor, the guru that you call for all things home technology. That's what they do. They stay up on top of this to make sure that it runs and functions as smoothly as possible. And when there is a hiccup, they're there to take care of it, because there will be hiccups, right? I mean, how often do we have to reboot our phone?
The router,
right?
whatever
Happens.
else. I mean, that's just on your internet provider, let alone everything else. And there's so many things out there that are smart, and they're smart in a good way. I'm not talking about that rice cooker that gives you the weather. That's a big old who cares to me. But really what I'm talking about is maybe that outlet you need to have the electrician put in down in your crawl space, so you can have that emergency water controller that detects the leaks. That'll notify you when you have a pipe burst in the wintertime, or even tell you that your sump pump's not working. I have a water heater that's telling me that I need to change the air filter, and it's because it's a heat pump water heater. These are all things that are off-the-shelf issues that we see right now. It's not the pie in the sky. I need to have all these things work together, because, the last thing I want to have, and I love smart home technology. I've been speaking around for a long time. I just don't want to have 10 apps on my phone running my house. I kind of want to have one stop, maybe two if I have to, but that one-stop shop so I'm not hunting and pecking going, where's that light controller at?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a good question. It's a question that comes up a lot, or that question about, we're all used to apps now and how great they are, right? The whole app world we're living in. And we quickly get used to those apps. And then you're like, oh my gosh, I got to run an app for my climate, an app for my music, an app for my lighting, an app for my shades. It could get out of control. So this is something that an integrator could consult with, because there's pros and cons by having a single app approach or running multiple apps. So an integrator could do both of those, help you pick stuff that is the easiest to use. But a lot of people really love the single app approach, where all those different, instead of going into apps for all those things, one app rules them all. And the neat thing about the one app that rules them all, you could build some convenience features into there, like we call them presets, or scenes. And you could have a scene that says good night, and good night shuts off all the electronics that might be left on. If any TVs are left on, turns those off, sets the thermostats back, arms the security system.
And that's exactly what I have on my system. Just exactly that. And it's called Good Night.
Yeah, isn't that cool? And the lights could fade out really slowly, and you could reverse that in the morning. The good morning button, it does all these things for you. So that comes into the whole user friendliness of the house, because it's a lot easier to press one button than a whole bunch of them. And so that convenience factor is definitely there. Again, something that an integrator can really help you with by consulting with the client, because every client's different, and budgets change or are different between the clients and what technologies they want. But an integrator is there to be your guide, if you will. You're almost like your technology Sherpa, to figure out, do a needs analysis, show you what's out there, and then pick the appropriate technologies and put them in and make it all easy to use.
And that's the reason why I wanted to have you on today, was just really trying to set that expectation out there, so we could really be able to define what the role is for the consumer out there that's thinking about taking on these projects, trying to find the right people to help them on the job. Josh, thanks for coming on today, man. I really appreciate it. And I really like what you guys are doing for consumers out there with the Home Technology Association. Coming up next, we're going to talk about the newest garage doors that I found in Las Vegas.
Around the House Northwest is sponsored by The Wall, the Pacific Northwest premier contractor for all your landscape and hardscape needs since 1985. Pyramid Heating and Cooling, thrive in the great indoors. And Standard TV and Appliance, best service, best selection, best people. Around the House Northwest is sponsored by Chevy Colorado. From outdoor enthusiasts to do-it-yourself diehards, the all-new 2023 Colorado is the boldest, most capable Colorado ever. Official truck of Around the House Northwest.
Garage doors are one of the first impressions to your home. I got a chance to catch up on the latest trends in technology with your garage doors with Clopay down at Design and Construction Week in Las Vegas. Here's this week's Hot for Your House.
Now it's time for Hot for Your House.
All right, we're here at the Kitchen and Bath Industry Show and the International Building Show, and we've got Clopay garage doors. Michelle, thanks for coming on Around the House today. This is great.
Thanks, Eric. It's great to be here. Glad you can stop by our booth and see what's new.
Yeah, there are so many cool new products here at this show. Let's start with this one right here.
Yeah.
This is pretty cool.
It is. This is our new modern steel ultra grain plank door that we're going to be coming out with in the spring. And you can see it's got the horizontal printed planks on a steel door. But you know, when you're this far back, you can't even really tell they're printed. It's got the authentic kind of wood grain texture. This is a darker color. It's called Kona. We're also coming out with a coastal gray, sort of a lighter stained wood look. It's a really affordable option for people who want a low maintenance wood look door to warm up their exterior.
Yeah, this is great. It feels like just your regular steel door.
It is, yes.
But you think about it, we have printed stuff on our floors, we have cabinets that way.
Yes.
Why not a garage door
Exactly, and we've been doing printed wood look doors since 2009. In fact, we were the first ones to introduce ultra grain, and we just keep expanding because it's such a successful product for us and a great look for homeowners.
Okay, this is stunning in person.
This is our new Canyon Ridge chevron door. The door has been out for quite a while. However, we haven't had this chevron design, and if you go on Instagram and Pinterest, our dealers are telling us people are pulling pictures of this style door in natural wood and saying, this is the door I want. Well, now they're going to be able to get it into a low maintenance wood composite that's weather resistant. It's not going to rot, warp, or crack. And you can get it painted or stained, and it comes in several different designs. We've got this A look. We're gonna have a V, and then angles going to the right and the left, with windows, without windows, lots of stain finishes. This is our slate color, and it also comes with a complementing entry door, a fiberglass entry door, so if you're doing the whole facade makeover, you can get both at the same time, and you know they're gonna look great together.
Yeah, this looks like very high-end wood here, but again, composites. We put them on decks for 15 years.
Yes.
But this is such a luxury feel without the crazy maintenance with some of the woods out there, because this takes so much abuse with the weather on the front of your house.
It does.
And it always has to look at 100%.
It does. And we mold these boards from actual pieces of wood. This is mahogany cladding and overlay. So you're going to get the exact look and feel when you rub it. You can see the texture. This is mahogany. It's nice and smooth. But we have some bigger texture doors like clear cypress for people that want a real rustic look.
Yeah.
So it's beautiful, and it's going to hold up.
And this has that feel of real wood. That's the cool part about it.
Yes.
It feels like it's got a really durable finish on it, but it's composite.
Right, and this is factory finished. It comes ready to go.
Oh.
So it's, finished to our warranty standards, so you know it's gonna last. And these cladding and overlays are attached to an insulated steel base door.
Okay.
Polyurethane foam insulated door. It's got 2 inches thick, 20.4 R value. This is gonna keep your garage nice and comfortable year round, winter or summer.
So this is probably insulated in many garages better than that, right?
Yes. Yes.
That's awesome.
Definitely.
That's awesome. Let's take a look at that exterior door too, because that's cool.
So Clopay is one of the few manufacturers that offers complementing entry doors for our residential garage doors, and this is our Rustic Collection fiberglass. This is a real popular look. All the new homes that are being built around my neighborhood, at least, folks are going back to the double entry.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so we did this one in the slate to complement the chevron door. We've got the grooved panel down here, which complements the groove in the chevron. The exact same finish, so you don't have to worry about being kind of close. You know it's going to be spot on with this door. Big lights for natural light and beautiful durable hardware. It's a beauty.
That's the one thing I always struggled as an interior designer working with stuff, is trying to get that garage door in the doors. You don't want to have the worst. My nightmare actually was having something that was almost there, because it looks like you tried to do it and didn't get there. You almost had to contrast them and just go, okay, these are not friends at all. We're just going to let them be themselves.
Exactly.
But now you can match it.
Yes.
Nobody else does that.
Yes. It's a really nice convenience. You're dealing with one manufacturer, one dealer. They're going to install them both at the same time, and you know it's going to be exactly what you expected it to be.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Yeah,
that's brilliant.
It's beautiful.
Hey, let's cruise over and take a look at the next stuff around the corner, because I tell you what, that is cool as well. All right, so I'm a contemporary fan.
Yes, you are.
I love this door. You know that. It's just my style.
Yeah, well, seeing that picture of your house that you sent, this could be an option for your house. This is our modern steel door, again with the ultra grain finish, only this one doesn't have planks like the other one we saw. Just a nice medium finish with narrow windows, frosted glass, clean, simple, modern. People love it. And also, again, the complementing entry door.
How cool is that?
This is going to be coming out later this year. This is our modern fur grain fiberglass entry door. And what we're showing here is an option for people that have solid color exteriors that want to warm them up with some contrast or some organic wood tones. We did the mocha frames on the side lights with the frosted glass, the medium finish on the fur fiberglass, and it complements the medium finish on the garage door. Two different materials, steel, fiberglass, but both are low maintenance and weather resistant, insulated polyurethane foam insulation. And you know, you can get this door, you could go with black here if you want to. You could paint the door black and go with white. There's so many combinations, different lengths of side lights. It's really up to you to customize it to fit your home.
Yeah, it's funny, the first time I looked, this blended in so well. I was so caught to the fur, I didn't even realize the first 10 seconds looking at this that there were side lights on it.
Yeah.
And that's how well that all works together. And especially with me, fur has been always a tough real wood door because the sun, with clear vertical bearing fur, it'll go real orange and the finish gets beat up. That's the perfect way to get the beauty of the fur without having the color change in the natural wood. You know when you put it in, it's going to be that way, and you get the warranty with it as well.
Yes, you do. And you know, again, it's got the nice grooved feel. It doesn't feel like plastic at all. I mean, it's a nice, rich, quality fiberglass, and you can get different stain colors, like I said. You can go darker, and you can even paint this door if you want to, and still have that authentic wood grain texture.
Yeah, it's so pretty. I'd have a hard time painting that door, to be honest.
Yeah, I would too.
You
It's
know?
one of my favorites, definitely.
Because really, I mean, if I close my eyes on this, this feels like just, you feel every grain in the wood.
Yeah.
And it feels like it was very cast from real wood.
Yeah, and they're hand assembled, so it's a beautiful fit and finish.
Cool. Michelle, thanks for the time today on this stuff. You guys have some great stuff here.
Thank you.
And can't wait to start working on that next project.
I know. We're excited about it.
Stay tuned for that one, guys. We got some more garage doors coming up later in the shows. This is going to be a good one. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Coming up next, I'm going to show you how to fix that leaky faucet.
You are watching Around the House Northwest, presented by PGE and Oregon Kind of Energy. Welcome back to Around the House Northwest, presented by PGE and Oregon Kind of Energy.
Each and every week, we answer your questions on air to help you get the most out of your house. We like to call it our neighborhood connection. Today, we're talking about a leaky faucet.
Now, it's time for the Neighborhood Connection, sponsored by The Wall.
Hey, Eric. So on the inside of my house, the plumbing is great. I have no problems. But on the outside of my house, I have an exterior faucet that has a leak. So what's the best way to fix an exterior faucet leak?
You know, that's a great question. The first thing is there's a ton of different types of exterior faucets or hose bibs outside. We're going to talk today about one of the most common ones. These are the ones that like to freeze outside that you got to be careful this time of year. So this is your typical exterior hose bib, and what happens is it can leak in two different places. You'll see it around here, around the nut. You're going to see it come out, of course, where the hose is. And so either one of those wastes a ton of water, but they can be pretty easy to fix. The first thing though is no matter what you're doing with these, it's hard to work with. This stuff gets all corroded like this one. You can see where it's been leaking. And if you reef on this too hard, this soft copper pipe or whatever else is back there can break. So be careful. Really, what I like to do is start by taking the handle off here first. So we just take that nut loose. Could be a screw, could be a nut, depending on what brand. And then you've got this right here. So you've got the stem, and this actually, with some pliers and some help, comes off. So if it's leaking around that, there's this little seal right here. This can easily be replaced. And that goes on. But if you take this off without turning the water off, you're going to get a shower. So always turn the water off to the house or to this faucet before you tear into this stuff. If it's not leaking there and it's leaking out the end of the hose, that's an easy one as well. Because this comes right out the top, and there's a seal at the end of this. This little rubber washer right here is what stops the water from coming out the hose. There's a seat down here, and what happens is over time, this turns into dust basically, and now you've got metal on metal and it's rusting. If it's a replaceable one, like most of the older ones are, you can buy a kit like this for about $5 at your home improvement store, and they've got the correct size washer in it. You'll take the screw out of here. Be very careful because it's still made out of brass, so it's soft. So get the exact size screwdriver and you're good to go. That will come off, put the new one on, put it back together. Then you're good to go. But if it's not repairable, you could buy a brand new one for about 10 or 12 bucks at your home improvement store, and that way you're good too. But no matter what, this stuff is gentle, so you got to be very careful and it will be corroded. So that's the secret. Couple little washers, and you could put this on here. If it's really old, what you can do is actually put a little bit of the Teflon tape in here and cram that nut over the top. Then you're good. Now you got a faucet that's not going to leak.
Hey Eric, Clara out in Cornelius here, and I have a problem with my kitchen sink. I turn it on and the water runs and everything, but you'll see here it starts to leak. And I mean, it stops once I turn the water off, but it keeps going again. And I'm just not really sure how to go about fixing it, so I'm hoping that you can help me out a little bit with this. I appreciate any help you can offer. Thanks.
Thanks, Clara. That is a great question. But the good news is you have a repairable faucet, and these things can be repaired time and time again. This one's made by Delta, so you can get a repair kit for just about any hardware store out there. That's the cool thing. And they come apart pretty easy. So let's talk about how this comes apart to fix that leak. So first off, there's going to be a little cover in here, and you're actually going to take this cover off. Lots of different kinds. Could be plastic, could be metal, depending on the age of the faucet. You're going to take your little tool, which is a little hex tool, and you're going to take this, remove it. The handle will slide right off. This is where we stop. This is where you got to go down and make sure the water's turned off. So take both of those, hot, cold, turn them all the way off to the right so you know you have the water off. Because when you take this next piece off, you're going to have Old Faithful in your kitchen. That's never a good thing. It'll take you a while to clean it up. And you'll never get this back in when the water is running. Trust me, I've seen it done. The next thing is this crown here takes a little bit to get off. If this hasn't been repaired in 20 or 30 years, it could be completely crusted up. So you're probably going to have to fight it a little bit. But they make a little tool that comes with the kit when you repair this. So this will come off, this crown. And now you're getting into the inner workings of the faucet. You can get that out of the way. This is where their little patented Delta stainless steel or brass ball is. This is what controls that. So when you go to hot, cold, off, a little bit of water, that's the secret. There's also two little seats down inside that you can replace as part of the kit, but that's not your problem today. Your problem are the O-rings under here. And let me fight this thing off. You're going to have to fight it a little bit. This is one of those things that you have to muscle it around. And once you get it just perfectly, it will come off. So this sets over the top. These are your offending pieces, these two O-rings that are right here. So you're going to pop these off and put the new ones in out of your kit. If you've got a little knife or something like that, you can get underneath them. And so you'll just get in, get these loosened up. And actually, if you want to, you can even cut them because you're going to throw them away. But those are the pieces you need to repair. Once those come off, put the new ones on, and you reassemble. These two little seats come out of the inside, and springs. I'll show you what those look like. And then you're going to have a brand new working faucet when it's all said and done. You'll put your new kit in, reassemble, you're good to go. And that faucet's probably going to last you another 10 years or until you want to do that next remodel. And that saves you a couple $100 on a brand new faucet.
Around the House Northwest is sponsored by I-5 Exteriors, family owned, and providing service from Salem to Tacoma for all your roofing needs. Kitchens and More Northwest, building your custom cabinet dreams into reality since 1989. And Gary Boyer, the Mortgage Monkey, client-focused, results-driven. Welcome back to Around the House Northwest, presented by PGE and Oregon Kind of Energy.
Thanks for tuning in to another edition of Around the House Northwest here on Fox 12 Plus. We've got another great show lined up next week. In the meantime, make sure to follow us on social media for any updates and to interact with the show. We'll see you next Saturday at 10 a.m. right here on Fox 12 Plus for more Around the House Northwest.
Thank you for watching Around the House Northwest, presented by PGE and Oregon Kind of Energy.